When my children were growing up years ago, I did not allow anyone to watch home videos in my home. You know how it is. Sometimes friends or relations will come to your home and they will want you to, put the channels where home videos are viewed. We did not allow that. We did explain to them why home videos were not welcomed in our home. Now, in this video today, I will be explaining exactly why we did that, okay? We will be discussing the power of the mind. We'll be discussing the nature of the mind, what I knew about the mind that made me to take that decision, and how it can equally help you today to take a decision to help your children to develop a reading habit. I'll get back to this. Hi, I'm Ngozi Okure. Welcome to my YouTube channel. In this channel, we discuss books and reading and how to leverage reading for success in life. Please subscribe to my channel if you've not done so, and if you're a returning subscriber, you're highly welcome. In this video today, we'll be discussing still on how to develop a reading habit and why we prohibited the watching of home videos in my home when my children were young. You see, the human mind is a very powerful hub. The human mind is the hub of the body, is the result center of the body. Now, whatever captures the mind, whatever captures the human mind has captured the person, because that's where everything starts, okay? That's where everything is processed. Now, there are two gates that lead to the human mind, and these gates are the eye gate and the ear gate. So it's so important what somebody sees or what somebody hears. So having that in mind, when my children were born, we decided that we wanted them to have a reading culture. And with that decision, we were very deliberate with what we allowed them to watch and what we allowed them to listen to. And that was what informed our decision not to allow them to be exposed to home videos. When my children were young, it was actually the time that home videos were exploding in Nigeria. It was so serious that it was a business. People used to, get shops where people could rent home videos and watch them. It wasn't uncommon for children in school to be discussing the home videos they watch and all that, and my children had nothing to say. I explained to them why I took that decision, and instead of videos and the screen, what I did was that I flooded the home with books, all manner of books, right? Yes, because I was deliberate in what I wanted them to place before their eyes. So while others were watching home videos and discussing home videos, my children were reading books. It was deliberate. Now, why did I do that? Why did I take the decision to let my children place books before their eyes instead of home videos? I will explain to you. As I said earlier, that the human mind is the hub of the body, the result center of the body, the work center of the body. And I said that whatsoever captures the mind captures the person. It's Sister Joyce Meyer that will say that wherever the mind goes, the whole body goes. I knew from reading books and reading parenting books when my children were born, I knew that from the ages of 0 to 7, that the subconscious mind of the child is open, and the child is absorbing everything happening around him and storing them in their mental blueprint, storing them in their subconscious mind. And those things that they've stored in their mind are the things that they're going to act out, the things that the child has captured in his subconscious mind. That forms his worldview. It forms everything about the child. The child is processing everything literally from what he has gathered from his environment, which he has stored in his mental blueprint. See, when children are young, they don't know anything about the world outside what happens in your home. They don't know there is US, they don't know there is UK, they don't even know about your next door neighbors. Everything the child knows is what happens in your home. So whatsoever is taking place in your home is eventually what that child is going to act out, okay? Is what that child is going to act out later in life, okay? So if it is a home like mine, where I was deliberate in giving children books, where I was deliberate in putting books in the hands of the children, it's so easy for them to think, oh, this is what happens in life. In this place, people read books because they saw me reading books, they saw people in the home reading books, and then there were all manner of books, all types of books around, books that are age specific around them, from board books to, books for toddlers, and then books for young children. So they had all sorts of books, okay? So because they saw me reading books and there were books around them, it was easy for them to read books. Now, let's flip it around for a child who is exposed to the screen. You see, when we were growing up in my home, before the internet came, when you were with your parents in the home, you are just with your parents. The influences that you will be exposed to you are the influences that your parents are exerting on you. Then when you have a child in the home and you have an internet-enabled device in the home and the child has access to the device, that child has access to the whole world, and the whole world have access to your child, right? So, and of course, we know that the media is very serious, right? Now, so some of those home videos were actually not very good for the children. Not because the producers of the home videos want to destroy the lives of the children, but rather they are business people and they are producing their materials, they're producing their videos, and they want them sold, right? So you know that in this life is negative news that sells. So the people that produce these home videos usually use them to mirror the negatives happening in the society. That's why when you're watching those home videos, you see a lot of places where, a young girl wants money, he goes to men. A young boy wants money, he takes to crime. People want to settle scores, they go to consult mediums. There are all manner of vindictive things happening in the home videos, and the small child is watching. Now, the child is very young. He doesn't know the difference between drama and reality. So the child is just absorbing everything happening in those home videos and storing them in his or her mental blueprint. He thinks it's reality. The adult who is watching the home videos knows that those things are actings. The child who is watching it is too young to appreciate that those things are drama. So she thinks they are reality and they are stored in her mental blueprint. So when the child goes out, he now begins to think, okay, this is how life runs. Ladies are supposed to get money from men. And young boy thinks this is how life runs. We consult mediums and we take to crime if we want to get money. And that is exactly why we have some of the things happening in the society today. But if it's a child who is brought up reading books, right? Someone says that each time you open a book, you learn something new. And it is said that books are idea banks. So the average child who is brought up reading books will always have ideas. You would think, okay, you need money, do something. You need money, think about an idea to leverage to get money. Okay, so that's what children who are exposed to books do. They think about ideas, they think about creativity, and they go out to create wealth. But the ones who are exposed to the screen do life differently. Now, another major reason why, if you want your children to have a reading culture, why you should not expose them to the screen is this. You see, the human mind does not have the capacity to retain a lot of passions at the same time. Yes, the human mind does not have the ability or the capacity to withhold or to hold a lot of passions at the same time. So a child who is given books from the cradle loves books, and should be able to read books. And of course, according to President Obama, that reading is a gateway skill that makes every other learning possible. Now that tells me that a child who loves to read books can learn anything, can excel in anything she puts her hands onto. And that's why we see that children who have a reading culture hardly cheat in exams, because they have the ability already to read books and to understand. Okay, they read, they comprehend, and they can go out and write their exams. So they usually excel in academics. Okay, but now children who are exposed to the screen, what happens to them? Now the moment whether it's video games or home videos or whatsoever that they are seeing or watching constantly in the screen gets a hold of their mind, it's so difficult for them to excel in academics. Why? Because the human mind can hardly hold on to many passions at the same time. That's why when I hold my webinars for parents on how to give their children a reading culture, now the complaint I usually receive from many mothers or many parents is that their children are addicted to cartoons or that they're addicted to home videos. Why? This is so easy to understand if you consider the nature of the mind. I told you that the mind is a result center of the body, right? And the mind, just Meyer says that wherever the mind goes, the whole body goes. So once a child begins to watch home videos consistently or begin to play video games consistently, that passion is entrenched in his mind. It's so difficult for him to give his best in his academics. And that's why it's so important that you watch what you put into the hands of your children. It's so important that you watch what you put before your children. Another reason why it's so important that you do not put screens into the hands of your children when they're so young is that, you see, man is a creature of habits. Yes, man is a creature of habits, and whatsoever we do consistently becomes habitual. That's why most times when children are in their toddler stages, of course, you know, when children are toddlers, they have not developed a sense of danger. So they don't know that people die, and that's why they do all manner of things. At that stage, when they are so restless, they are putting themselves into all manner of dangers. A lot of parents who do not understand the power of the mind will put on cartoons or put on home videos and give to them. Of course, you know that the screen is interesting with all the colors, the constant scrolling and all that. Well, what these parents don't understand is that man is a creature of habits, and that whatsoever we do consistently becomes habitual. So when this child is holding the screen, today she does it, tomorrow she does it, the next day she does it, the mother or father will just put the screen in their hands and go and do their own thing, knowing that the child is captivated, the screen is holding the child down. Now, by the time they realize it, they will see that that child is already hooked to the screen. Okay, so that's why it's so important. Don't get your child hooked to the screen. It has a way of limiting children. Every child is a genius child. I wrote a book sometime last year titled How to Give Your Children a Reading Culture. In that book, I dedicated it to all the genius children in the world who are stranded at poverty or failure zones of life because nobody was able to give them a reading culture. Every child arrives into this world in the image of God. Every child arrives into this world as stars. What determines whether they will become stars in reality, what determines their stardom, is what the parents put in their hands, what the parents put in their faces, before their eyes and their ear gates. Are you putting the screen before your child, or you're putting books into their hands? We are not saying that children will not be exposed to the screen, but let them be exposed to books and reading first. Let reading become second nature. Let reading become habitual. Then with time, when they begin to grow much later in life, you can use the screen constructively. You can use the screen and expose them to positive things before they can grow enough to begin to make their own decisions. Children are made in the image of God, so they have unlimited potentials. So I want to encourage you, every parent listening to this, especially the ones who still have very young children, please do not expose your children to the screen. Don't think that they are being, denied enjoyment, that if you don't allow them to watch this and that, they will not enjoy their lives. Remember, when they were in the womb, before they got to you, they were not watching home videos, they were not watching television, but they were okay. So when they come into your home and you give them books, you will see that they will be okay. Moreover, I have done some videos that has explained to you some books. There are very beautiful books that can compete with the screen when it comes to teaching children things and children enjoying their lives. Okay, so you can check through my videos, my playlist. There are some videos that I have made where I have exposed or explained certain children's books that are so very beautiful that you can put into the hands of your children, and they will not miss the screen one bit. Rather, they will develop the all important habit of having a reading habit. Thank you so much for being being a part of this beautiful video. If you got value, I want you to subscribe to my channel and click the link here so that you can watch other videos like this that will encourage you to give your children a reading culture. Until I come your way next time, keep reading books.